Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Heartland Mamas. I'm Marie Briel.
And I'm Heidi Henry, coming to you from three separate studios at the edge of the Great Red Divide. And Murray, today we have John Spencer, who's running for representative for the state of Illinois and downstate Illinois in Clay County. So
In
we're
the
going to talk to
109th District.
109th District, and we're going to talk to him about his policy and position, the platform that he's running on. And we've got some really great questions for him, I think, to help talk about the important things in rural Illinois, in
Now,
rural
Heidi,
America.
before we jump in to our amazing guest tonight, let's just let our listeners know that John is the Clay County Democratic Chair. He is also a precinct committee person. He's been very active and involved, and he's running in this for the seat currently held by Darren Dingbat Bailey, who has made national news with his challenging of the constitutionality of Governor J.B. Pritzker's stay-at-home order. So let's let him know that, and
Definitely,
then
yeah,
John.
go ahead. Definitely, Darren Bailey putting politics over people, over people's lives. Very, very dangerous right now in a worldwide pandemic. So very disappointing that a person who claims to be a man of God and believes in life would put people in such serious, potentially deadly positions. So go ahead.
So John, why did you decide to run?
I decided to run because this area needs economic development. We've went behind, we haven't had no progress. We have to have a change. And I can see that there will be no change, so I'm in this for change to help not only my district, but southern Illinois as well, the entire southern part of the state. We're pretty well all Republican controlled down here. We have to have a voice to help the people in southern Illinois. We have places without mental health in this area, counties without health departments. Uh, we have children now with this epidemic that cannot get online schooling and education because we have no internet access at they have to go to the school every day in the evening or every morning, pick up books and bring it back the next day because they have no internet access. We have to have internet, broadband internet throughout the area, not only for our school systems, but to bring in industry. Agriculture requires broadband internet now more than we have to get this broadband internet throughout the entire southern Illinois. It's part of the capital bill. The money's there for it. We've got to ask, and my opponent will not ask for any of it because Darren Bailey voted against the capital bill, and Adam Niemerg, my opponent, will not accept any of the capital bill because he thinks we ought to do away with it.
Really? So your opponent in the upcoming, he would be unable to work with our current governor then?
Unable, he will not work with the governor and has stated he will not work with the governor and will not work the Democrat legislature.
You know, anybody who puts their own ideology, their own self before the needs of the people, that's very selfish. It's a very selfish position. So that's a rather stunning statement to make that he won't work with those that can bring economic stability to your area. That's shameful.
And well, another thing, he's definitely against our new minimum wage law. He would actually like to see that rolled back in Illinois to the federal of 7 something an hour. People can't survive on what it'll be in July at 10. We need to get to $15 immediately so that people can survive.
What does
Absolutely.
do you know what the average cost of rent is in your area if you wanted to rent a one-bedroom apartment in your area or a two-bedroom apartment if you had a child?
It'd be anywhere between $500 and $750.
Oh my goodness. So you'd be working just for your rent.
Your rent, and not only that, in this area, you have to have a vehicle to
Right.
get to and from work. You have to pay insurance. You have nothing left over.
Your area is really spread out. You were talking when we were talking earlier today. You had mentioned you'd gathered petition signatures for a candidate, correct? And you had
Yes,
gone an entire day's trip just to hit your congressional district for a person who's
if
running to be a delegate.
if I was to go 30 minutes where I'm at right now and get to the north edge of my district, or the 109th, and head back south on Route 45, it would take me 2 hours to get to the other end of it at North City on Route 45.
Oh, that's huge.
So you make a really good point that I think we often leave out, and that is, Heidi, you mentioned how much would a
And
place to rent be? Well, we forget about things like transportation. You can't ride your bike,
No.
32 miles to a job. There's no buses,
no,
there's no trains.
we have no public transportation here at all, except we do have some public education for elderly people to go to the grocery store or Walmart or something like that. That's the only public transportation we have in this area.
Okay. So, I know we had talked a little bit about, about some of the other beliefs that he had. What are some other contrasts between you and your opponent?
Just about everything. Uh,
We love you already, John. We already love you. You got the mama's support here, let me tell you.
uh, anything that I want jobs. I want economic development. I want broadband internet. I want improvements in education. I would like to see the tax bill passed, the fair tax, so that we can lower property taxes. That's our
Yes.
big problem here. It's not income tax. We are one of the lowest. We are the
Yeah.
lowest income tax state in all of our surroundings. Our problem is property tax. If someone makes $250,000 a year, after all their expenses, they can afford to pay more tax, for the simple fact they're not going to go broke if they've got $250,000 left over after all their expenses. The people down on the low end of the totem pole, they need and that's why I'm for the progressive tax.
John, in your area, how many people do you have in your area that would make over the $250,000 per year? I know in my area, in rural north central Illinois, it's very rare to find somebody that makes that much in my community. Is it common in Clay County for people to make that much money?
We would have possibly two people in the county that would make that, and one of them is Darren.
Really?
Of course it is. Of course it is.
Surprising, right? That he would. Okay.
And I might add, where I'm sitting at right now, I am about 12 foot away from a brick wall, 3 bricks thick, and next on the other side of that brick wall is Darren Bailey's office.
Oh, yay.
Nice.
Yippee.
So come on, you got to tell me, did you want to TP it? I know before the pandemic, before we didn't have toilet paper, you gotta just want to TP it. I don't know. It would be
I,
a
you
waste of
know,
valuable resources now, but I might have done it. I don't know.
Murray, in this in small towns, you don't do that because you can't get away with it.
We don't have video. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Jen, you had mentioned some really interesting things to me when we were talking about consolidating the schools. And I know in my area, we've gone through a lot of school consolidation for the detriment of some of our small communities. Long, long bus drives, rides to school for some of the kids. And especially our high school right now, they can be on the bus for over an hour. And I know that you
Right.
talked a little bit about that. So if you can just say how that impacts your area, that would be great.
Okay. In the 109th district, we have two counties, Clay, the county that I'm in, and Wayne directly. We have three high schools, and uh, it would be detrimental to close down the schools for the simple fact those towns would die. And not only that, there would be small children have to ride the bus both directions for over an hour, some of them close to approaching an hour and a half each direction. That's unacceptable. We have a county that's in this district, Jasper.
Mm-hmm.
Students ride the bus an hour and a half both
already.
ways already. They consolidated a few years back, and one size does not fit all in the state of Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
If school consolidation might work in one county, but not in the adjoining county. And with school or unit consolidation, that could go down to one administrator. And then each town or village that has a school, high school, could keep their identity and
Yeah.
move teachers, not students. Pay the teachers mileage to go from one school to the other school, and they would all be under one unit uh, instead of rebuilding a new school and selling the existing schools for pennies on the dollar.
Mm-hmm.
And we could utilize those schools. Most of those schools are pretty well new. They've just been built in the last few years, and we don't need to abandon them. We need to use.
The thing that I've noticed in my community is when the high school leaves, like I live in a little town called Marseille. Marseille's lost its high school 30 years ago and
Hey, that's
consolidated
where
with Ottawa, Illinois. That's where
that's
you
when
went to
I
school,
went.
Murray.
And my senior year was the first year that the two schools consolidated.
But the thing that I noticed with Marseille's is it lost a big part of its identity by consolidating. They gave up what part of what made them special. So I really do understand what you're saying. And I like the idea of the unit school where you have, physics taught in the morning at one school and at another school in the afternoon, maybe 3 days a week, and then maybe English here and then English over there for the rest of the day. That's
Right.
entirely possible. I think you said it best earlier when we talked about busing one person instead of a bus full of kids, buses and buses and
Right.
buses of
Well,
kids.
we have buses run here from Clay City to Louisville. There may only be one student on that bus. The bus goes back from Louisville to Clay City, comes back in the afternoon, picks that student up, takes that student back to Clay City. You've got almost 80 miles that buses went that day,
Boy,
and
that's a lot.
that's unacceptable. And it's a
Yeah.
big bus. You got the driver. Uh, Pay the teacher mileage. It's so much cheaper.
Oh, I agree. That's a really good idea. And the other thing too, in school education reform was one of the things that I ran on when I ran for Senate in 2018. Here in Illinois, we ranked 50th out of 50 states in how we fund education. Yet we have one of the best educational systems in the United States. It's you know, it's a difficult thing that we haven't figured out to balance. And fair tax would change that. I don't think people understand the benefit of lowering our property taxes here in Illinois, because we fund our schools with property taxes, and that doesn't work. It's never worked really well for us. So moving on from that, I'd like you to talk a little bit. We talked a little bit about industrial hemp today, which I think is such a great idea. So if you can give us an idea about your plan for crop diversification
And also, I was really intrigued by your plan for bringing in hemp processing and why it makes sense. Because currently, hemp farmers are having a hard time finding places to process it. So, bringing
Mhm.
that in would be a huge boon to your area. So, please talk about that a little bit.
Well, the first thing we have to do is get JB on board. JB loves Southern Illinois. I know JB. I can work with JB. He'll work with me. We can get this going, but we have to have someone in Springfield that can talk to JB, get work with the Illinois Farm Bureau, the American Farm Bureau, work with industry, and get a production plant going in this area. We could start very easily, get the hemp growing, and get manufacturing going for plastic bags instead of having the bag tax we're talking about. We could process a better bag that'll decompose in 6 months in a landfill. Uh,
They make hemp plastic bags.
Oh yeah, hemp plastic is
oh yes, yes,
huge.
yes, yes.
That
Yeah.
is
You can make
fantastic.
you can make a motor out of hemp too. Hemp is several times you can make hemp that's several times stronger than steel and will withstand heat better too.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
we definitely need to make some movement on that in
There's
that.
over there there's over 25,000 different products that can be made from industrial clothing, shoes. The list
Paper,
is in
sheets. Yeah,
paper,
anything
cardboard,
textile.
particle board. You can make shingles out of hemp too. You can make paint,
Yep.
caulking.
The industrial hemp oil too is also used as a fuel, where CBD oil for pharmaceutical grade is used in medicinal purposes. The industrial strength or the industrial hemp oil is often used as a fuel alternative and a renewable fuel. So a
Right.
biofuel.
In what will that's really I'll have to look into that more. That is very cool. I'm
I
usually thinking about the other side of that plant, the cannabis side of that plant. You want to talk that? I got you in spades. I know all about it. So I love finding out more about hemp. I did not know.
Uh,
There's yeah, and that's why spoke to Jen earlier. My husband and I had looked at putting a hemp processing plant out here on our farm. We're just that our acreage isn't correct for it. So, but because there's such a need for processing, and actually, if you build a processing plant, the hemp will come.
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. If we get the processing plants coming, uh, it won't take long for the farmers to be right on board. I've talked to several of the farmers. They are ready to start planting, but we have to have some place to go with it. And
And that's
and
forward thinking, John. I'd just like to commend you. One of the biggest problems Heidi and I've talked about over and over is this reactionary thinking that we have. We
Mhm.
don't actually plan ahead. So the fact that you're saying this is a crop that one, we need, that two, we can grow well, three, will bring industry into the area, and you have a plan
Jobs.
on how to get a factory there, how to get processing there. You talked about pulling in the infrastructure. All of that is forward thinking. Thank you so much, John. A sane person who could be a representative in the state of Illinois. I love
I do my best. uh, we've got several different empty factories in this district that could be converted into hemp manufacturing plants. They're
Wow.
here. All we have to do is get the ball rolling, and everything except broadband internet and someone ready to go into the factory. The help will be here.
I know that the money is there for broadband. I know that was when I spoke to JB when I was running and told him how important it is in areas that I ran in that has no broadband. He was really interested in getting that done. So I know that was built in into the bill that passed so that we can get broadband out there. And now with the kids needing to be schooled at home and online, it's more important than ever. So
Right.
Now, John, when we talked, you mentioned talking about healthcare, and that's something that we know concerns so many people, and it's on everyone's mind. And you had a solution that would be a stopgap until we got some sort of buy-in or pay plan, or. But I really think it was a great idea. So, would you mind telling us that story?
Okay. The plan I have is if you go to see your doctor and your doctor suspects that something may be wrong with you, the odds of that doctor prescribing a CAT scan or an X-ray are next to nothing unless you have Medicare, Medicaid, or really good insurance that will pay for that. And if you've got a large deductible, the doctor's not going to prescribe that for you. But if we had a plan called early detection, you go see that doctor. Within 10 days, you could have a CAT scan and an X. Based on your income. If you're low income, it would be free. But if you're diagnosed with cancer at stage 1 or almost cancer, it can be terminated and be taken care of early. This will save lives and save money for early detection.
We do that
and
through the Illinois Department of Public Health for mammograms for women already.
It's basically the same. That would be
same
on
thing.
the same level as that, or X-rays, like chest X-rays and CAT scans. And
great idea.
Absolutely.
A lot of the it's a big lot and will pay for itself because if something's wrong with you, it'll be detected early, and then treatment can start immediately. It was called
early detection and early treatment saves lives, and we've known that with mammograms for decades. And I think you're onto something there with increasing our rural public health access, and something that's very important even in my neck of the woods. Murray lives more urban and has a lot more access than we have here in the rural parts, and even you're even more rural than I am. So
yes.
But, so that's something that's really good. Rural health initiative, a pre-existing, not a pre-existing condition, but a early detection system is amazing. So the other thing we talked about was some of the infrastructure needs for manufacturing down in your area. You have roadways and bridges and things that need to be attended to for manufacturing. Is that correct?
Yes. Route 50 was on track to be a full. We have a distribution center in Olney, and we have manufacturing in Flora. those factories basically moved in there under the promise that turned into a 4-lane. When Darren Bailey went into office a year and a half ago, it was on track. Things were surveying was better now. And Darren had a big hand in that. And he's got trucks that are on Route 50 all the time. But for some reason, he's against Route.
It sounds like a lot of backward thinking down there. I know
Guns.
that some of the struggle.
I believe, John, you kind of summed it up well, is anything anti-blue, and all that matters to this particular group of Republicans down there are guns, abortion, and what was the other one you said?
Separate the state.
Ah, the
Put a
separate
fence
the
around
state.
Chicago.
Yeah. And they do realize that without Chicago and the surrounding areas, the state, you wouldn't have a state. Just because of the taxes and the financial revenue that is brought in through there.
They'd have sub-Mississippi.
Yeah, we would be worse than Mississippi.
Yeah.
The county I'm in, that I live in, is Clay County. We get back $1.84 every dollar that we send to Springfield. One of the other counties, Lawrence County, gets back over $2. All of our counties get pay, and that includes income tax, sales tax, lottery. So it's all money that goes to state. We get back almost twice throughout the district. But you bring that up to Adam Newberg, that's going to be my opponent, and Darren Bailey, and they will tell you way we supporting Chicago and the collar counties. They had no real, they actually, because of the coronavirus, they want JB and the legislature to eliminate sales tax and income tax until July of next year. They want all taxes completely done away with. That's what they want.
Yeah, it'll bankrupt us.
We cannot survive.
Fiscally conservative Republicans, gotta love them, right?
Yes, they want no taxes at all. But I don't like taxes, and I know you don't like taxes, but we have them that we can have roads, we can have bridges, we can have health departments, we can have fire departments, we can have police departments. The list is endless. We have to have taxes. We might not like them.
Can you tell us a little bit about your opponent? What is his name again?
Adam Newberg.
And what does he do?
He's an investor for country companies.
Okay. Is that what he's always done? Has been an insurance adjuster?
He's very young. He's a young
yes,
lad.
he's real young.
He's a young whippersnapper with a big ego, from what I hear.
Yeah. That sums it up.
It sounds like our 75th representative, totally groomed for the job.
It sounds exactly like your federal representative.
Oh, Adam
That's
Kinzinger.
Who I thought of immediately when John and I were first
Adam
talking.
Kinzinger, David Walter. I'll bet you they all have the same haircut too, because I don't know. It's like the Republican haircut.
They're all on some sort of Republican Discord, and they all like chat with each other. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they sure don't chat with their constituents unless they agree with them. So,
well, John,
now has he ever held office before? Your opponent?
No, my opponent has never held any type of an office, not even precinct committeeman, I don't think.
Okay. All right. I just, I'm always surprised at people who don't have a lot of life experience to begin with, or work experience, or educational experience. I don't know what his education level is, and come in and think that they know how things work.
They don't.
So,
It's all completely a prop put up by the Republican Party to retain control of the southern part of the state.
right.
Darren is hand chosen heir apparent to the state Senate seat after being there for a year and a half. And he's now moving on to senator with his associate's degree in his farm. Makes perfect sense that he's on the education department. He's on the education committees in the House, which makes no bloody sense at all. But on top of that, you have this ideology perpetuated by Dan Proft, perpetuated by the teabag movement, perpetuated by the right wing nutbags pushing this agenda. And
Well,
he's just he's the perfect little Republican clone to do and say what they want to.
Dan Proft tends to find puppets that he can manipulate. He's the puppet master, He's the money.
For the teabag party,
yeah, which is Koch brothers, so Koch Industries. So that's some pretty tough rows to hoe, but I think you can do it, John. I think you got.
I'm going to work real hard. Most of my experience I've gained over the years. I have no intentions of slowing down. I've been through good times. I've been through bad times. And I've seen economic downturn, and I've seen it come back. And we're going to come back out of this. We'll come back strong. But in order for some back strong, we have to have some change. And we'll be forever coming out of this with Adam Nieberg as our state rep.
I think
work hard to try to help the people. I'm not in this for myself. Adam Nieberg is in it for himself.
Yeah.
I'm in this for my kids, everybody's kids and grandkids.
That's wonderful.
I love you, John. You are the best. Will you come back on our show and be with us again? Now that we got the technology figured out. Yay, we've got John again. I love it.
That's wonderful. Yeah, we want to be sure we keep in touch with you and help you. Now, do you have a website or ActBlue or anything set up yet?
I'll have one set up. I'll send that to you tomorrow.
And what we'll do is we'll put it on our links and put it out there, and we will definitely share and spread the word. We'll get you with your social media sites and anything set up, and we will. The mamas are on Team John, so whatever we can do, you got us.
Yeah, we can't wait to call you representative.
Yay!
Okay, thank
you.
But
we get to say we knew you when.
Yeah, that's right.
Thanks again, John, and thanks again, everyone, for tuning in to our show tonight. We appreciate it. We're going to be doing a live stream tomorrow night, too, with UAW leader for the Central Region, Region 4, John Dudney. And we really appreciate John. We've got a lot of Johns this week. John coming on and talking to us about why sanity can be brought back. So Heidi, tell them how they can like, subscribe, and share.
So find us at Heartland Mamas, MAMAS.com on any platform that you can find for podcasts or YouTube like you're watching right now. So thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you soon. Take care. Hang in there, John. I'm going to get us out of this window.
Okay, thank you.